Hi everyone. Welcome to my new video. This is regarding data which we are getting into a JSON. That JSON file is getting dropped into my S3 bucket, and as soon the file is getting dropped to the S3 bucket, there should be a event which will automatically trigger a Lambda function, and inside that Lambda function I will be using boto3 libraries to interact with DynamoDb and the S3 bucket, and able to see the logs in the CloudWatch logs. And yeah, this is the overall architecture. This is a very common use case we often get into any projects. So the JSON file, when it's coming to the S3 bucket, I am creating a S3 bucket. Under that I will be putting these files that will automatically trigger this Lambda function. And in order to this Lambda function to initiate and take the files from S3, I will be creating a IAM role with a policy to access the S3 bucket, to access the DynamoDB, as well as to access the CloudWatch logs. So yeah, that's the overall idea of this architecture. And let's come into the steps. Okay, first we will be creating the DynamoDB table. The table name should be DynamoDbDemo in for my use case, and I need to specify a primary key for this. So I have already created the DynamoDB demo table here, and inside this right now I'm having only one record. So if I do explore tables and scan, I can only able to see one record, which has total 4 columns, which exactly matching with my JSON file here. This is my JSON file. It's a simple JSON file which contains some provided demographic information. So I gave a dummy data into it: ID, name, age, and country. So second step should be uh, I need to create a S3 bucket under which I need to place the JSON files. So this is my S3 bucket I have created under buckets, ProducerJson. So once my bucket is created, then I need to create a Lambda function. So before that Lambda function, I need to create a IAM role. So for IAM, I have opened the dashboard. For this, first I need to create a policy. In this policy, I need to access the policy should be accessing for S3 CloudWatch logs and the DynamoDB. First, I will choose S3 here. We need to give all S3 functions as well as all resources. Same way I will do for CloudWatch logs. All actions, all resources. Same way I need to do for DynamoDB. All actions and all resources. So now my policy, I have added all three services. Now I need to give a name. This I'm giving S3 to Dynamo policy. Simply create the policy. Second step is creating a role which should attach the policy we created. Here we're going to access the three services S3 DynamoDB and CloudWatch logs from the Lambda. So I need to choose the Lambda service uh, from here, and in this permission policy search bar I need to search the one which I have created. This is the one I have created. Now I need to give a role name S3 to DynamoDB role. Okay, the role name is already exist. I'll use Dynamo role. Now coming to the Lambda function, I will be creating the it from the scratch. Need to give a function name S3 to Dynamo function. Runtime I need to use Python 3.8. Yeah, permission here I need to uh, use the existing role, the one which I have created. So this one I have created. Create the function. Okay, so my function is Lambda function is ready now. Here, as I mentioned that as soon I place the JSON in my S3 bucket, it should initiate the Lambda function. That's why I need to create a trigger on the S3. I need to give the bucket name. In my case, ProducerJson is my bucket name. Event type, it should all object create events. It is by default. Prefix, I'm not giving anything since I'm not using any prefix. Under bucket only, I'm placing all the files. Suffix, yes, I need to give what type of files I will be putting. So JSON dot JSON I need to put here. Yeah, so this has added my S3 trigger. Now coming to the code. Okay, so by default, AWS is giving a library import of JSON import library and a function lambda handler, under which there are two parameters, event and context. So we will be using event for this use case. I'm removing this return part, and first I'm going to import boto3 and print the event. So I cannot directly print the event because it is an array, so I will be converting it into a string. Okay, so now let's execute this and see whether I'm getting proper data or not. The idea is to execute this event and see what is the uh, S3 S3 bucket details I'm getting here. For this, I need to upload the JSON file. Okay, but one more thing, I need to import, not now, let's execute. Okay, this should create a CloudWatch log here. Okay, so one log group is created now. So I can see the event is now, it came as an string. I can, now we can read this string. We can place it to some JSON editor. Here I can place it. And in viewer, we can able to see what is the hierarchy of this. So I have already written this code here. First, let me copy and I will walk you through. First, we are importing boto3, then we are importing JSON, and for Dynamo, we are creating a boto3 resource, DynamoDb, and for S3 client, we are creating a boto3 client S3, and this is the default Lambda handler function. Here, I am creating a variable bucket under which I am reading from the event what is the hierarchy which we saw here. So under JSON we have a record 0 s3 bucket, then under bucket we have a name. So same way records 0 s3 bucket, under bucket we have a bucket name. Similarly for file names it is coming under object key. So under event record 0 s3 object key. So I have taken this two data in the this two variable. Now into JSON data, I am passing this into a get object function that also we will get it in the S3 boto3 boto3 S3 documentation. If you search by this, you will get the details. So this is how we create the client, and to get the object, this is the get object function we use. Same way I am using the s3.client, the variable which I create, which I use in declared, and under that get object function, and I'm passing the arguments here. So for me the arguments are bucket details and the file details, which gives me the data which is present inside the JSON into a JSON body, and the JSON body is coming as an array, so I'm reading that into a new variable called JSON read. But for me to, in order to load it into the DynamoDB table, I need to convert it into a dictionary. So this is the dictionary, and the function I'm using is json.loads and passing the JSON read variable where I am keeping the body details here. Now the table details I am keeping under the table dynamo variable, and under table dynamo I'm using the put item function to pass as a item argument. So the JSON dictionary, whatever details I'm getting here, that I'm passing as an item here. Okay. So let me deploy this. Now if I re-upload the file under my bucket, it should auto initiate the Lambda function, and I can see the CloudWatch log, and then under DynamoDb, the data should be inserted. Let's see now. Okay, it may be created under this log only. So let's go to log groups, Lambda under this. Okay, maybe it got deleted before this. Yeah, I need to re-upload the file here. But let's see in DynamoDB it is inserted or not. Oh, it is inserted. Okay, we are good. So this record is what our JSON record. ID 3, name Shomik, age 26, country USA. So that's it. These are the total five steps to read any JSON from the S3 bucket and auto triggering a Lambda function from there. And main thing is you need to specify the access roles and policies in IAM properly in order to execute the code. And these are total 13 lines of code, which actually reads from the JSON, convert it into a tabular format into dictionary, and load it to the DynamoDB table. Thank you for watching the video.